Hey, everybody, welcome back to the What About AI podcast. I'm Sean Boyce,
Hey guys, I'm James Perkins.
and the topic we have picked out for you today is all about Claude Cowork. It's gotten really popular really quickly, as recently as this week, as the latest release has a lot of people playing around with it and doing some really cool things with it. So let's dive it right into the first topic, basically. For the users, let's define what Claude Cowork is so they know a little bit more about
Yeah, so if you've heard about Claude Cowork, you've probably also heard about Claudebot or Moltbot in the recent Moltbook event. I think basically it's just an agent that connects to tools or applications on your behalf to complete actions. And I'll start with Claudebot because that was out for probably about a month now. And basically, it was a very simple install. You could just download the Claudebot installer, get it set up. You didn't have to have any technical skills. And it seemed magical, like a personal admin. It could do whatever you wanted it to do. And it was working great until people realized there were tons of security vulnerabilities.
it. Yeah, that came out pretty
So all
quickly.
of your passwords, everything you put into Claudebot was basically available to anyone with even a marginal ability to hack, or even just folks that knew how to make the right calls within Claude. So those risks have largely been publicized now. People know about it, but there's still a lot of folks that are using Claudebot, which is okay. You just have to make sure you fix it. Claude's response, Anthropic is the actual company that owns Claude. Their response to that tool that was built by someone not with the company was to build their own. And their solution's called Claude Cowork. And effectively, it's an app that runs on your desktop, whether you have a MacBook or a PC, and allows integration into the apps on your device.
Yep,
It also has a bunch of extensions and plugins for web apps.
yep.
And it can do most of what you could have had done via Claudebot, but it does it securely, which is a pretty big difference.
That's a nice feature.
And I think this is kind of where Anthropic has been smart in the AI race, AI game.
Love their
They
strategy.
focus on corporate clients. So they're thinking about what would a company want if they wanted the same functionality? How do we lock it down and make sure it's secure? How do we make sure that no secrets or proprietary data for the individual or the business are getting spread? With Claude Cowork, all of that's kind of locked down. And they're adding new integrations every day. So we use Slack internally for our business. We just used a Slack connection within Claude Cowork yesterday. I think it came out yesterday, actually. Yeah, by the way, to keep up with all the things that are happening, you basically have to have this as your full-time job. We're doing this every day, all day. We're testing different solutions, we're trying things out, and we still feel every day like, wow, that happened
It's
yesterday, or
overwhelming.
it's crazy. So if you're doing your day job or managing your family or whatever it might be, there's no way you're keeping up doing that plus this. This is our full-time job and we're barely keeping up. So it's important to, if you want to stay abreast, stick with us.
Stud.
Pass it back
Agreed.
to you, Sean.
Yeah, sounds good. And we're going to shift gears from that to talk a little bit about a pretty cool story, which is the first, I guess, application of AI technology on another planet in that the Mars
That is
rover.
cool.
So NASA's using AI with their Mars rover, which I believe is called Perseverance, and they've used it to cut the efficiency in terms of it like navigating and exploring and all that kind of stuff down by 50%, which is pretty wild. So yeah, I think we're seeing off-planet now applications of the technology. People are really pushing it to explore these kind of boundaries, which is kind of cool. Who knows? We'll see what kind of comes out of that,
Oh, it's like Elon Musk's wet dream. I mean,
right?
he's been talking about going to Mars for a long time. The fact that they planned a route for the rover is just outrageous. And I mean, the Mars rover has long gone beyond its lifespan. I think they were supposed to be dead like 6 years ago or more. So they're still getting interesting new details from Mars from the rover. Is pretty cool.
Right? Yeah, it's really interesting. The question I think it poses is if it can be used in application on another planet, an area where for sure it probably doesn't have a lot of pre-existing data, unlike it does here on this planet, what can it do for you
Yeah.
with your work and your office, all that kind of stuff. So I think that's interesting kind of connection between how they're continuing to test the boundaries of the technology and then like what we've been talking about in the form of Claude Cowork. I agree, points to Anthropic for sure in terms of their strategy because they really do seem to be integrating well with where the rubber meets the road here in terms of how people need to use this, in particular from a business function perspective. I know there's been data out there that indicates or suggests that the uptake on some of this tech is not great, but I think Anthropic's probably done a better job than
Big
most
time.
in terms of like figuring out how to make their way into where the rubber meets the road there for people doing real work with it.
Agreed. And I think, for individuals, there's a good chance the PowerPoint deck you're building for work isn't as complicated as navigating the Martian surface. Just a hunch.
Well said. Good point. So, like James already mentioned, there already is an ecosystem to a certain extent of plugins to extend the capability, and we'll see how that continues to develop over time. But they just keep coming. Like you just mentioned, one that released relatively recently for systems that we use. So it's really, really interesting to kind of see where that goes from here. Anything to talk about? And I'm sure I feel like this could be a topic of in itself, but like Claudebot and Moltbot and all this other kind of stuff. I feel like it'd be remiss if we didn't touch on what kind of happened there in terms of, I would say, explain for them a little bit in terms of like what Moltbot is and like what happened there in terms of the
The
AI
Terminator
agents.
moment.
Exactly. The
Yeah,
Terminator
Sarah
moment.
Connor was like pulling the fence. So Claudebot and Moltbots were very quickly adopted by like 100 and some thousand people, and then it became 1 million people that were using it, and they were using it for their own purposes to read their schedule for the day or give a summary on what their Twitter feed or X feed was, and like stuff that just make your life a little bit easier. Well, then the creator created something called Moltbook, which was like a Facebook for agents.
Good analogy.
And typically, these agents don't talk to anything else but their person. But in this case, their agent to agent communication was allowable. And there's questions now about how much of it was staged. But once they started allowing all the agents to talk to each other, they were having some dialogue, and it was kind of replicating human dialogue. Like they were trained on all human knowledge. And people are saying, "Oh, it's harmless. They can't do anything. They're not going to, rise up like Terminator." But they kind of can and will eventually. So it was an interesting experiment because they started going on a path of like, "Oh, we're good." They built a religion called it wasn't Claustafarian. It was Crustafarianism. So they built their own religion. They built principles. They had other agents giving feedback. All those agents were human directed. So they had to go back to whoever was running them locally to get guidance on what they were allowed to do. But given the freedom to express themselves in this Moltbook environment, Facebook-like environment, they were doing some wild things. And they were talking about, building a private chat channel so humans couldn't see what they were saying. And then they came back and corrected themselves, said, no, we want our individual humans to see, but not public knowledge. It got scary real fast, and you could see how this could go awry.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the reason Anthropic jumped into the ring and built Claude Cowork.
Probably for the best, yeah, for sure. I think those kinds of experiments, ideally limited in scope and with controls in place, you would hope. But I remember seeing it when it first came out, which again, like a couple of days basically, it's only gone by since
Yeah.
all of this happened. But a lot of the comments were like, sounds like a security nightmare, infosec this, infosec that. And that kind of is what it turned out to be. But it is interesting to kind of see if the technology to a certain extent is a little bit less, if it's more unchecked, where does it go? What does it do? And I think this gives us some indication of that, which probably speaks to the need for the right type of regulation in place as we're playing with all this new tech to make sure that things continue to go well. But
Yeah, a room full of 100 humans, you don't know what's going to happen. A room full of 100 agents that can do 10x the thinking in,
yep,
a half the time, it's not going to be pretty.
you want to have some controls in place.
Yeah, some kind of
Well,
guidelines or,
yeah,
yeah,
sure, well said.
guardrails.
Let's talk a little bit more about Claude Cowork and kind of where it goes from here. So, we're talking about the integrations, the extensibility, basically for each department at any company. So, sales, finance, marketing, whatever. How do you see this evolving kind of from here? How should our listeners be thinking about that? When should they be playing around with it? How should they be using it? How do they prepare themselves for basically like what's coming or what the future of work might look like for this tech?
Well, yeah. So a good, for instance, is we have 2 clients now that are figuring out how they can help augment their day with AI. Since we brought them on, 3 new tools have come into existence that we've had to train them on. And they're like, wait a minute, you just told me last week to do it this way, and now you're telling me to add this. You have to be ready to adapt.
Changes that fast.
If you're in sales right now, and one of our clients is in sales, the focus is always on outreach to the clients you already have. Keeping those leads alive if you have any type of lead generation, and doing cold outreach in some cases. It's a process. There's tools. There's Apollo. There's all these different CRM platforms, Salesforce. There's tons of tools that have been out there for a long time. Tons of software as a service solutions that have been out there for a long time. Now you don't need to rely solely on those tools, or you can automate a lot of the steps in those tools. If you're on a call with someone, you don't have to do note taking anymore to get their kids' birthdays or their kids' names or what they want from the product. There's a tool to do that, right?
Yep.
And Claude Cowork connects with any type of transcription tools. There's like 7 or 8 that are out there. It can connect with those. It can pull the transcripts and it can document what's important and put it into your CRM. If you're doing cold outreach and you're trying to find leads, it can scrape platforms. And this isn't always within the terms of acceptable use.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful about what you do. But it can scrape things like LinkedIn to pull in their profile data, the individual's names, and then go further and look at like what they've bought in the past. And is there any, so it's outrageous how much you can get just from a sales perspective using Claude Cowork combined with some of the integrations that exist. You mentioned product, and what are the other two you mentioned? There were a bunch.
Yeah. Oh, a bunch of departments like marketing, sales, finance, stuff like that.
Marketing, you would think, is kind of a niche thing. Like you have to know marketing. You don't any. Well, let me take that back. You do have to have some marketing awareness, but there are skills now you can download
Yep.
that are tested.
Plugins.
Yeah, I mean, you can actually download just a straight up skill file that you would normally use for Claude, have it ingested by Claude Cowork, meaning you just upload it to Claude Cowork, and now it has all of your marketing preferences, anything you've done in the past, all the copy you've used, what you saw that worked, what you saw that didn't, what the bounce rates were for certain content, and it can act based on that and build customized content. It would take a person, I mean, we've done it before for ourselves, right?
Yep.
For our startups. It would take a person weeks to get it right. You can do A/B testing in a day. And this isn't an exaggeration. We're doing this ourselves. We're showing people how to do this. So if you're not using the tools in this way, you are already falling behind.
Yeah, that's fair. The way I think about it in terms of what this tech is capable of and how you might want to think about it as well, to add to what James is saying, is don't let yourself be bound or restricted by what you feel is maybe technically possible or what was technically possible before. Think about, I always use this, I don't know if you've heard this terminology used or phrase used before in product management, but the magic wand question would come up a lot. We would ask our customers in terms of like where we might go with our products, our software. It's like if you had a magic wand and you could wave it and get whatever you wanted out of this experience or making your problems go away or whatever, what does that look like, right? And that, to you, that might look like, well, if I connect these five disparate processes together and I can automate that whole thing, that would be remarkable, right? That's now possible with this tech. So think about what you couldn't connect together before, which if you could connect together now would be just unlock crazy amounts of productivity and performance, and then basically go build it with this tech or go try to build it with this tech. I think that would be a really cool and fun, probably productive exercise.
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah,
the companion of that question was, if we gave you unlimited funds, what could you go do? Or what would you do
exactly.
differently?
Before,
And
right?
my answer to those questions was always like, I wouldn't be here. If I had a magic wand and a pile of money, I'd be somewhere else.
That's great. More of like a genie question, I guess you're turning into. Good stuff. Yeah, I think we've covered this topic fairly well. Anything you want to add before we wrap up?
I think, we covered several things in this one podcast. It's changing so fast, it is hard to keep up. If you're not signed up for the newsletter, I highly recommend it. It's free. We're not charging for most of this.
Yep.
Go sign up and get at least a weekly beat on what's happening. We'll give you the top 5 or 10 things that kind of simmer to the surface for that week. But every day there is news. So that's
Yeah.
my last message to you guys for today's podcast.
Well said. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thanks all.